So today we just want to talk about communicating with our adult children. Now, in this time where we are now older and have retired, and we may or may not be living close to our children, it becomes really critical to be able to have regular communication with them. I just had my son, who is the baby. He's a man now, he's a grown man, but he's the last of the pack. And he, from Norway, he decided to call me and his dad for a conversation. That was startling to me because I still see him as a little child, but he's grown now. So it opened my eyes to something that I have overlooked over the years, to recognize that I am raising children and they are slowly becoming adults themselves. So he took me and the dad, sat us down, and it just broke my heart because he was so emotional about this conversation. You know, when you live afar from your children, sometimes they don't recognize that we are getting old. We are not the young, vibrant parents that they've grown up with. They still, if they don't see us, they still think we still have the same kind of energy and vigor that we had during the time that we were raising them. So I think it was just so alarming for my son to see both me and his dad. We hadn't seen him, I think, in over a year, maybe a year and a half. But there has been drastic change, which was startling to him. And he had to open up and sit us down and say to us, suddenly I realized that you guys are old or older. So a lot of things that we brought up during that conversation, and part of it is just being able to communicate. I think we take each other for granted that, oh, my son is over there, my daughter is over there, they know I'm here at home in Africa, and when you call them, and most of the time we say we're okay, without putting too much detail, maybe because we don't want to worry them. And sometimes we don't even realize that we are not really telling the children exactly where we are. And this is what I found with my son. He was startled to see how old we have become. So he opened up, and it was wonderful to be able to have this kind of very deep conversation with him. He's no longer a baby. So it is critical that we recognize that we are raising our children and they are also slowly becoming adults as we age. So why am I talking about us being able to communicate with our children? There are certain things that happen in our lives that we don't realize that it might just actually be stressful to the family if we don't communicate. Make it normal to have a time where you have a sit down to talk about real issues. You know, most of the time we default to talking about football, basketball, light things, and we defer the serious conversations. But I think it is a good thing to be able to have serious conversations with your children so that if anything would happen to one of you, if there has been regular communication of what's going on, it makes it easy. Overlooking having serious conversation and sometimes difficult conversations does not make it any easy for yourself or your children, and maybe at times even grandchildren. So I I'm speaking directly to people of the African continent. The way we were raised, and I think it might be common with other cultures as well, but the way we were raised, we really don't talk serious conversations with our parents, and vice versa. The children do not usually come to us with serious conversations. There's always the aunt, the uncle, the grandmother, or someone else who can have those difficult conversations for you and then relate them to you. But the world has shrunk, and our children are making their lives, their settlements outside of the African continent, and are being exposed to other cultures where communication is key, and direct communication for that matter. Now, we are placed in the same position now in this 21st century because of migration, because of deaths that have occurred, and some premature death starting from when the continent was attacked by HIV/AIDS, and to just recently where we had the COVID pandemic. So because of the distance, not being able to travel, not seeing your children, has made it even more crucial that we communicate. Because if they haven't seen you in 5 years, trust me, when they do see you, no matter how much makeup or hair coloring you do, the signs of aging, they begin to show. And it's okay. If we are going to age, they are also going to age. They are going to become. So it's no surprise that when they don't see you, they are looking at a totally different person. And sometimes there is also a change in our mental capacities. So you don't want to not communicate and get to the juncture where you are not able to spell out or to articulate exactly what's going on. Wherever we are traveling a lot, especially I do a lot of traveling. I think it is a good thing to always keep the children informed of how I'm doing. They always know where I am. That much is true. But some pertinent detail that will make them a little more at ease, sometimes I overlook. And then only realize when you sit down with them that they really needed to know that kind of information. So let me just briefly talk about some of the things that we, as the seniors, as the parents, grandparents, who are now having the next generation that is looking at us and seeing that we're older. We need to make it easier for them, making it clear on what is and what is not in our life. The first thing that I want to really emphasize on is being able to be honest about your health. If there's anything going on with you, physically, mentally, psychologically, sometimes it is a good thing. In fact, it is a good thing to be able to let your family, your children know. If you're struggling with depression, you've been working all along and suddenly you're retired and you might be finding it difficult to cope with that transition, share so that they do understand where you are. They might not have the answers for you, but it is really good for them to be aware that, that transition might be a little bit difficult for you. After all, you've been somebody who's employed for the last 40, 50 years, and then suddenly, if you haven't really thought out what you want to do, you start to struggle. They also need to know, if you're losing your eyesight, if you now need bifocals, if you're losing your hearing, like I am, I'm comfortable letting them know that, I am losing my hearing slowly, ever so slowly. If they are aware that is what's going on, they're not irritated when every time they're talking to you, you're like, huh? Huh? If they are aware that this is happening, it makes it easier, especially when you are not with them. When you're having the phone conversations, the huh and I didn't hear you always comes through. But sometimes it is because you truly are losing your hearing. So you should be able to be comfortable talking about where you are in terms of your health, physical health. I have a displaced clavicle here. Displaced because of the hormonal changes that I'm going through as a senior woman, or estrogen levels that help with ligaments, with bone density and all that. They are going down slowly. In fact, it almost looks like they are plummeting. Also, giving your children, a good feel how you are doing mentally as well. There are challenges. We start to forget. We don't know where the keys are. We don't remember what conversation we've had. We repeat ourselves. If they are aware that those changes are beginning to occur, it's not very shocking when they see you do those things. You're looking for your glasses when you have them on. I do that all the time. You're looking for your keys, the car keys, and you're holding them in your hand. It happens. But it's alarming if they start seeing it and you're doing that and they haven't seen you in a while. So do have that serious and frank conversation about changes. It is what it is. That's a cycle or circle of life. We are born, we grow up, we raise children, we start getting older, and in the end, we exit. It's a reality. That also leads me to the next point, that we do need to communicate clearly what our plans are in terms of, in the event of us passing. How are the children going to handle? Do you have a will? Are your things, your assets in trusts? What exactly are the children going to do? For most of us who were raised with nothing, our parents did not leave anything. So there was nothing to talk about, Now we acquire properties, we have some money stashed away, we have investments here and there. It is a good thing to start having those things in an organized manner. Have a trust, communicate with lawyers, how those things need to be handled, and then let your children know what you have done. Just ignoring it and not paying attention to it, that doesn't make it go away. Our children are all over, they're in the Americas, in Europe, Australia, in Asia, they're everywhere. And if we do not have our things in order, we live a mess. It is an eventuality that we will either lose our faculties or we die. That's the natural way of things, that we go first before our children. It would be really an honorable thing to leave our house in order. If you're not doing well financially, I think it's fair to let the children know where your struggles are, rather than pretend that all is well. This is how our parents used to do it. They never used to tell us they're broke. They just used to carry on. They just used to push on. And we got used to mom and dad doing things for us where they got the money, even if they had to go and do, if you're in Zimbabwe, chimbadzo, borrow Peter to pay John. They just used to do it, and that's what we grew up with. It is not a good practice not to be able to communicate what your financial situation is like. If you're struggling, or if your books are in order, let the children know that everything is in order and all the files and bookkeeping is in order, so that if in the event that you're not capable of taking care of those things, they're able to just come in, jump in, and take over from there. It is really important that we do that. And don't let them guess. Just talk about it. There's nothing wrong with talking about your good life or the struggles that you're having. After all, they are your family. You're not telling them so that they take over or take care of you, but you're preparing them that in the event that you're not able to take care of your own affairs, they know exactly what is on the ground. So it's a good thing to have a good relationship with your children. Build a healthy relationship with the children. Build a healthy relationship with whoever you choose to be the lookout for you as you get older. Have a good relationship. Have good communication channels, and don't play this game of second guessing. I just was startled that my son was, a little taken aback about how me and his dad are looking. I don't see it. I see myself every day, so I don't really see that I'm getting old. So it got me to think that we think we have time to have these important discussions, and because I hear it all the time. I hear it from friends, I hear it from family. We see it when someone passes on, or they are incapable of taking care of their own affairs, that there are a lot of things that the close relations do not know. So from me to you, as a fellow mature woman, I'm saying, let's start today. Let's start now to make our houses, to put our houses in order in terms of communication. Choose the person or persons that you're comfortable with, that you can share. If you don't have children, if you have a brother or sister or an uncle or whoever, even a friend, but have that communication with someone so that they are there for you in the event that you are incapable of taking care of some of those very critical and important issues. But please have that communication so that your child, your children, grandchildren are in a comfortable position, so that they feel empowered to be able to be of help or of support. In the meantime, just take care of us, be good to yourself, enjoy. Till the next time, take care of yourselves, and thank you for your support. Bye for now.